She don't like her eggs all runny. She thinks crossing her legs is
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Eat This Twin Cities. My name is Tracy Blowers.
And I'm Terry Daniel.
How does it feel? Does that make you feel powerful when you say my name?
It makes me feel powerful every time I have the microphone in front of me. I kind of like it.
Or
Maybe
when-
I should get into voiceovers.
Or when you say my name, do you feel more dense?
People always say that I have a good voice. That was a joke since people tell you that all the time.
Because everybody on the planet says that.
I know.
Hey, can I buy a cup of coffee and pick your brain for 3 hours?
For free.
Yeah, for free, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
So, wow, it's been crazy since we got home, kind of, right? Like, it's been really, really hard coming back from vacation. I'm sure everybody goes through this, right? I hope.
It's not like coming back from like a big city, like it's not like doing a week in Chicago or a week in New York. When you're coming back from the island, you're so brain dead by the time you come back that it takes weeks and weeks to kind of revive your brain. It's seriously, it's like being in a coma for a month.
I don't think it's really that you're brain dead as much as just you slow down and coming back to the fast pace. I know we said this last week, but it is kind of difficult. So,
well, it's true.
And
our condition
Mother
has not
Nature
improved.
What?
Our condition has not improved since the last show, so we're still whining about it.
Right. And let's just talk about Mother Nature being all over. It's like seriously bipolar. It was so nice over the weekend, right? I mean, How great was that? We got to barbecue and.
Well, you pay the price in Minnesota because it starts getting nice, and then suddenly you just start sneezing, and then you can't breathe anymore.
Right, that's true.
And then your allergies are awful. It's like there's no winning here.
Right. So, been dealing with that. You kind of have, from working in the yard, you ended up getting some crazy allergic reaction, right? Like kind of a rash on your shoulder, and
it started off as like a zit. And I'm sure our listeners really are going to find this quite appetizing to listen to. As a matter of fact, maybe you can post a few pictures on our Facebook page of my allergic rash that broke out.
But the reason we're bringing this up, honestly, is because a lot of people are complaining about it. The pollen count was extremely high. And we had talked about in episode 4, the salt cave. And I just wanted to remind everybody about that because it really does help with allergies. So check out episode 4 and hear about the Minneapolis salt cave and check it out. Go breathe some good air.
Well, it certainly helped me. And as I mentioned on episode 4, I was such a skeptic about it because I was just like, salt cave? Well, I don't know anything about it, so it must be stupid.
Learned your lesson on that one, huh? Just because you don't know about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And now I'm like a huge fan. So tell us, Tracy Blowers, what's coming up on the show?
All right. So you're going to be talking with Jim Souhan, and you're talking about the Minnesota Wild, of course, hot subject right now. And then you also covered some other stuff, right?
Yeah, we talked about the debacle last night. It's a typical Minnesota sports team. We came out hot on Monday and then very, very cold last night. So we talked about some of the problems the Wild had last night. Plus, we talked a little bit about the Minnesota Twins. But when we have people like Jim Souhan on, very popular media personality, I like to talk about things that they're into. Like Jim is a really good guitar player, and he plays in a band. You know, they get a few gigs here and there. Cool. Yeah. They get a few gigs here and there around the summer. And we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up. So it was a really fun conversation. So definitely tune in for that.
We'll also be talking about the Mill Northeast restaurant and Northeast in general, Izzy's ice cream and the Guthrie. And then we never followed back up about Twins opener and just some of the different foods that we tried and different things that are happening there. So we just want to do a quick wrap up there. And we'll be announcing our winner of the Minnesota Wild sweatshirt.
Yes.
And so that's what's coming up.
Sounds good. So we'll be right back to Eat This Twin Cities right after this. Legendary Minneapolis-St. Paul sports radio personality Jeff Dubé's energetic sports talk jumps right into the nitty-gritty local sports details you're looking for. No one else is delivering you sports news, current events, and guests with Dubé's gusto. Join him live at any of his bar perches or live streaming Monday through Wednesday only on the Alive and Social Network. Just go to JeffDubéShow.com. Welcome back to Eat This Twin Cities with Terry and Tracy. Man, I had to think about that for a second.
That's scary.
My brain is in my foot.
Help!
Yeah, help me, please. So the opener was great. The Twins opener, the weather was gorgeous, but you know the game was awful, so we don't need to spend any energy talking about that. But man, how impressed were we with Barrio?
Yeah, we really loved Barrio. It's such a great location. We love the new couchy feel. The food was really good.
It's the first place, people often compare Target Field to Wrigley in kind of, the party atmosphere. The product on the field isn't always anything to brag about, but this is kind of the first addition to Target Field where it actually kind of does feel a little bit like Wrigley because it's just kind of adds that little party flavor, right above the third baseline. And it's kind of funny because where we were sitting and watching the game, you could actually hear the music from Barrio and, everybody that was sitting there partying, in and around the, like you said, that couch area.
Right, and then they have that nice little perch, too.
Yes.
You can stand. It's a great view of the field and just great drinks, great bar. The bartenders were fantastic there, which is always a plus, of course.
Well, they were really ready. I mean, that could have been a disastrous situation on opening day and not being staffed well, and I was impressed, and that's going to be a big hangout all season long at Target Field. So if you're going to a game, check out Barrio for sure.
Yeah, great margaritas and great chips with guac. It was fantastic. Yeah, for sure. A little bit funny, which is dumb on our part, but we just didn't realize how crazy busy it was going to be. I mean, I knew it was going to be busy, but it was out of control. I've never seen it where you can't even move around in there, but fantastic for the Twins people.
Well, I've never been there when it was sold out. I've been to Viking games that have been kind of, real, like when you feel crunched in quite a bit. But yeah, it was really, really packed. And of course, by eighth inning, there was like a dozen people left.
Yeah, right. Which is a bummer.
Such a bad game, but the weather was perfect.
Yeah, yeah. And the season's been turning around, so that's great. One thing I did want to mention about the games and things that are coming up that I noticed, just to throw out there for all the women, is one thing that they started this year. It's Wine, Women, and Baseball. And there's 3 different games that you can buy tickets for. And there's like a wine tasting, there's light appetizers and dessert, pamper yourself stations, and then you get like a complimentary gift. So you can check that out on the Twins website, but it looks kind of cool. Something different. I like that they're throwing different stuff like that out there.
Yeah, that is really cool. And they do the promotions department with the Minnesota Twins. They always do a great job coming up with all these crazy and fun promotions. And every year it's kind of exciting to see what they're going to do during every homestand.
Right. They're definitely building on it, which is great.
So we got a chance, Bad Waitress. Here comes your competition. We discovered a new breakfast place. Yes. The Mill Northeast restaurant, formerly Mill City Cafe. We had been there, a couple of years ago when it was in a different location. And then I don't know how long they've been in this new spot, but
I think they said about a year.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really, really liked it there.
I liked it too. I really liked the atmosphere, and the service was great, and definitely very, very good food. Can't compare to my Bad Waitress pancake, but still very, very good food. I tried their whitefish soup that was great, and their quiche was fantastic. So good place to check out the Northeast. Sometimes I forget how close they are to where we live and that whole area, and that we should get over there. There's so many great new restaurants and stuff to do over there. So
well, and I always take note at what kind of music is playing. Whether we go to dinner, lunch, or breakfast someplace. That's so true. And the Mill Northeast restaurant had Wham's greatest hits playing. Yeah. And it was at first I'm like, God, this is so cheesy. And then, by the time we left, I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
I know, it was really great. And the owner was fantastic. We wanted to sit kind of in a separate area, and they were just so accommodating and everything. So that was really cool. One thing I wanted to say about that is the way that I rediscovered the Mill Northeast is I'm big on Instagram. It's if you're any of the businesses that you're into, restaurants, different things like that, you should follow them on Instagram, because they're always giving you different ideas and just food pictures, everything else. But one of the people that I follow, it's a group of 4, and they're called the Nord Eaters. It's NORDEATERS. You should check them out on Instagram, because they're constantly not just in the Northeast. That's where they focus, but they do kind of travel around Minneapolis just like we do, and they just post tons of great food pictures, great ideas on different restaurants to hit. So check them out.
Cool. So what else did you do this past week?
So I finally went to Izzy's Ice Cream by the Guthrie Theater. Have you had Izzy's before? I don't think you have.
I have not had Izzy's Ice Cream, but I tell you what, I could sure go for it right now.
I was kind of having a bad day, and I just thought, you know what, it's a perfect day to just run over there and get myself an ice cream cone and sit and enjoy the Stone Arch Bridge, and all the parks around there are so great. So anyway, Izzy's Ice Cream, fantastic. They make the ice cream right there. They travel all over the world to find the best ingredients, and it's amazing. Seriously, absolutely amazing. You got to try it sometime this summer if you haven't. Speaking of Guthrie Theater, I also went to Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. Crazy, crazy show. It's basically about when the apocalypse arrives and how would we react and what are the things that we would connect on and discuss. And they base it on The Simpsons because there's such a huge following of The Simpsons and all the different episodes, and that's what people end up talking about. And that's how they connect with each other, and they end up creating their own shows.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was interesting. I don't know. It made you think about what would we talk about if the world came to an end? What are the things, like just with the way the world is now, the things that we watch, all of our technology, all of our cell phones. Check it out. If you go to the Guthrie page, it was just a very different, very, very interesting show. It really made you think. You kind of walk away going, what? Scratching your head, but it's also cool. Like you kind of want to talk about it because it just really does make you think, and it's crazy and weird and funky and cool. So check that out too.
Well, if the world was coming to an end, of course, I'd be the moron sitting in the corner going, oh, I need a clever Facebook post. What should I write?
You'd be writing it on the ground, hoping someone's going to fly over and see your post.
All right, we need to take another break. When we come back, we'll have Jim Souhan from Star Tribune. Jim is also a part of the Alive and Social Network as well. And we will have him right after you hear this.
With Souhan Unfiltered, sports columnist for the Minneapolis Star Tribune, Jim Souhan presents in-depth conversations with the best writers and sports personalities in the area. Souhan brings professional journalism flavor without the verbal censoring. Find out what unfiltered really means. Only on the Alive and Social Network. SouhanUnfiltered.com.
All right, welcome back to Eat This Twin Cities. Next up on the show, we have Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. Jim also is a part of the Alive and Social Network and has his own podcast with a huge, massive following. Jim, how are you?
I'm good. Eat this. That's kind of a declarative statement, isn't it? It's kind of a challenge to people, isn't
Well,
it?
it really is.
Almost,
it really is.
Edgy, you could say.
Well, I know that you're a part of the network, too. How is your podcast doing?
Well, it's fun. It's great. You know, I do one a week with Michael Russo, probably the best hockey writer in the country, and he's a blast. And then I get to talk to people I like to talk to people I really like, you know. And the stunning thing about the podcast, something I didn't really anticipate, I thought it would just be kind of mobile radio.
Right.
And I've done a lot of radio in my life. The thing I didn't anticipate was that even people I've known for 20 years, people I've had, you know, long personal conversations with, people I've had beers with, people I've had, you know, who've told me things off the record. So many people I've talked to during this podcast have told me things that they've never told me before, either privately
Right.
or in interviews. It's remarkable. Yeah, I'll get halfway through a conversation, all of a sudden, Corey Hunter's telling me a story I've never heard before, or Terry Ryan telling me something personal he's never told me before. It's an amazing format.
Well, it's like somebody bugged our happy hour.
That's exactly right. It's like, it feels like a one-on-one conversation. It feels like a private one-on-one conversation, and you know it's not, and yet it still kind of coaches people to open up, which I didn't really anticipate.
And where can we find this podcast for some of our listeners that may not know how to get there?
SouhanUnfiltered.com is the website that has all, I think, 68 podcasts at this point, or you can subscribe for free on iTunes or find it via iHeartRadio.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about the tale of two different teams. Speaking of the Wild last night, you know, Monday night they looked like a bunch of, you know, fierce warriors from some type of a Mad Max movie, and then last night they looked pretty much like Indiana Jones running from the Jovitos. What the hell happened?
It's sports, you know, and frankly, I thought I had a line on this series. I thought I picked the Wild to win in 7 going in. I thought that they would split in St. Louis. I thought it was very predictable that St. Louis, after getting kind of embarrassed in Game 1, came out and played really well, and at least at the beginning of Game 2, even though the Wild had chances to tie that. I thought it was pretty predictable that the Wild came home and played really well at home, just like they did last year in the playoffs, and dominated Game 3. Last night surprised me. And really what changed is the Blues stopped doing stupid things and started playing hockey. That's a really talented, deep, well-coached team. And they played in Game 3 like they would rather win the scrums between whistles than they would than they want to play hockey. They really treated the Wild like a little brother who needed to be put in his place and beat up and sent and bloodied and sent to his room, and they forgot to play hockey. That's
right.
a good hockey team. Last night they didn't do any of the stupid things. They didn't do any of the fake intimidation. They played hockey, and they're really good. This is all year. Wild fans, Wild analysts, NHL analysts were saying the one team the Wild doesn't want to play in the playoffs is St. Louis, and that kind of went away because the Wild ended up playing some good games against St. Louis, and St. Louis kind of faded a little bit, and St. Louis didn't look very impressed at the beginning of this series. That last night was the St. Louis team that everybody feared, and when combined a really good hockey club playing good hockey, and the Wild just having a very rare off night, what you see is really an ugly result.
Well, Monday was bizarre. It was almost as if the St. Louis Blues had met with like some kind of a reality television producer before the game that kind of, directed them. Hey, we want to do kind of like an animated version of Slapshot.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I kept on thinking, okay, they think that there's a top rope you can jump off, and if you hit somebody with a folding chair, that you win the game. You don't get points for being for taunting somebody. You don't get points for bullying somebody. You certainly don't get points for taking stupid penalties, and they did all of the above. Last night, all they did was hockey. And tell you what, it was interesting. I went down and listened to Ken Hitchcock talk late last night, and the Blues coach during his press conference, and he didn't say much after game 3. Last night, it was like a declaration of war. He stood up there, this is our game. We're going to play our game. Basically be ready. This is the team. This is the way we're going to play the rest of the series. This could lead to. I mean, I know Wild fans. I know the fan mindset. You just want to win. You just want to advance. You want to win as quickly as possible. But I tell you what, this sets up for some great drama. I think this is going to be tremendous hockey the rest of the way.
I agree. It's going to be really interesting throughout the rest of the series. But let's switch gears here and talk about Jordan Schaefer and the Temple of Doom. What's with my Indiana Jones references today? I have no idea where that's coming from.
I mean, you're eliminating 80% of the demographic. For what you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about, and I think you're right on. And I think any sentence with the word "doom" in it is apropos when you're talking about Jordan Schaefer. He's just not a good baseball player, and they took a shot at him. I don't blame the Twins for bringing him in as a depth guy and as a former high draft choice with speed and some athletic ability, and you never know when something's going to click for somebody. It's worth taking a look at guys like that, but to end up having him be your starting center fielder is an abomination.
I mean, every single day, I'm kind of a Twitter freak, and, I see a multitude of tweets from fans on what kind of a lineup they would like to see, especially in center field, where the Twins needed help like yesterday. Well, do you see, in your opinion, a Rosario or Buxton kind of filling that role sooner or later? I mean, I don't know how long they can put up with this Robinson Schaefer platoon.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not major league caliber. Short Schaefer's not a good player. Talking to Twins people behind the scenes, they feel like they hate to pick a guy for their team and abandon him like 2 weeks later. They want to give him at least a little bit of a try here, as bad as it looks. They actually prefer Robinson. They think he's a better, smarter baseball player. He doesn't have much upside. He's not going to be a good major league player, but they at least like the way he approaches the game. Schaefer doesn't even really have a good approach or a good mental approach. There's nothing there. He's not a good baseball player. He will be out of baseball soon. So they need to make the move. Robinson might, there are a lot of guys like Robinson who might give you a good couple of weeks or a good month, just not a good long-term solution. Buxton has, listen, he missed a year. I'm as high on Buxton as anybody, who covers baseball, but he missed a year, and it's showing up right now. He's hitting below 200 in Double-A. He just hasn't gotten his feel for taking good at bats back yet. So you can't, you want him to be in some kind of a good role before you call him up. I know that there are a lot of people in the organization who would like to see him call up right now just for defense purposes, not thinking he'll figure it out sooner or later. But you would like him at least be playing, hitting well when you call him up. I think Rosario might be a really intriguing possibility. He is a very polished player, very polished hitter. He can play different positions. He's, frankly, there are people in the organization who think he's a real kind of a difficult guy. He is not pleased some people he's dealt with in the organization. I think he does have an attitude problem at times, but he's also got great skills. I think he can handle hitting major league pitching at this point. He would be better. Let's put it this way: he would be better than Schaefer or Robinson his first day in the big leagues, and they might have to go that way because I just can't watch Jordan Schaefer anymore.
It really is. It's really just, it's quite painful. I mean, it's, I was a big crusader with Rosario through spring training. I really thought they were going to bring him up right away and kind of give him a shot. I was so surprised, and I thought it was such a bizarre move. Hey, we're going to decide to platoon between Schaefer and Robinson. I'm like, you're telling me that this is your best option.
Yeah, it was a mistake. And, every organization, they do things because they have a pecking order, and they want to try this guy before they try that guy. And part of the reason for that is, it's easy for us, and I do it all the time, I admit it, it's easy for us to say, hey, try this guy. Well, they also have to, they have to have backup plans. So I guess their philosophy was, you give Schaefer a try. There is some talent there. If he figures it out, if he plays well, then that allows you to take your time with Rosario, which allows you to take your time with Buxton. That was the preferred path. But now that you see that Schaefer just can't play, I think you got to go to Rosario, and then trying Rosario out buys you some time for Buxton to get rolling, and eventually Buxton will get that job, and he will keep it for as long as they can afford to pay him.
What did you think of the old man trying to steal home last night?
Torrey is one of my favorite people in sports, always has been, and one of the reasons is because he cares so much and he tries so hard.
No doubt.
That was trying too hard. That was,
it was.
Get Vargas at the plate, bases loaded, let Vargas try to hit a grand slam. That was, and I know what he's thinking. He's thinking the team's struggling. He's in a leadership role. They're all looking to him to have a play the game. He's trying to show younger players, hey, if you really study the game, if you really study pitchers, there are always little places you can take advantage. And if Guthrie's not going to look at me, then I'm going to take advantage of that and I'm going to steal home. And, and had it worked, it would have been like the greatest moment of the season. But I think he's trying a little too hard there. I think, situationally, Torrey, if there was a guy up there who isn't capable of hitting a home run, let's put it this way. If Torrey's on third base and Jordan Schaefer's at the plate, try to steal home. What the heck?
Yeah, no doubt.
But with Vargas, I would like to see the run producer try to produce runs there.
Let's get personal for just a moment, and please don't walk off the set like Robert Downey Jr. did this week. I only want to know how long you've played guitar and what your plans are for the summer with your band.
I'm traveling so much, it's been hard for us to find much practice time, and I'm not exactly a natural. I need practice time. So we played at O'Gara's a couple times over the winter. My previous band had played O'Gara's a few times before that. I've been playing guitar on and off since high school. I didn't really take it very seriously until about 10 years ago, and I've been trying to really push myself with it since then. And then you start playing in a band, and you really want to be good because it's fun to get on stage and actually be able to play. We're going to try to play some gigs this summer, but until the Wild is done, I'm not sure we're going to be able to really set in kind of the schedule. And by the way, we're kind of also looking for the right kind of place to play. We want to play, kind of a fun dive bar where people want to hear, some good cover music. So if anybody has any suggestions, send me an email. We'll hook something up.
Well, there's a great stage for you in Northeast. There's a pub called Mayslax.
Oh, I love Mayslax.
Oh my God, they've got that intimate back room with that beautiful stage, and they could maybe fit about 50 to maybe 50, 60s pushing it, but that might be a good stage for you guys.
So that's perfect because we're still fairly in the formative stages here, and we want kind of a place that would feel fun, fun and maybe a little rowdy. And Mayslax is the place with the great roast beef, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that place.
Yeah, they got
good suggestion. I'll check them out.
Yeah, check that out. And of course, if I'm there that night, you have to invite me up to at least do Folsom Prison Blues.
Well, we do that song, so you get a verse.
Now, isn't it more fun just talking about you and your band instead of just talking about the same sports dreck 24/7?
Well, sports dreck is kind of my thing. In fact, I should call my column Sports Dreck. You give me another great idea there.
Well, I appreciate the time, Jim. I know that you're a busy guy, and hopefully the Wild can turn it around here on Friday night and get another win. And we'll see you at one of these one of your shows sometime soon as well. But thank you for coming on Eat This Twin Cities. You know, I'm not Sid. I can't offer you a steak or anything like that. But if we're ever,
let me make you an offer. Right now, we're with the podcast. We're trying to get a few more people out to the pub. So if we are doing a podcast, either the Liffey, Kieran's, or the local, the first 50 people to show up and like retweet us or favor us on some kind of social media get a free pint of Guinness. So I'm offering you a free pint of Guinness.
Oh, perfect. Way to get your promo in there at the last minute, man. That
was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty smooth. I mean, you just kind of worked it right in there, and it came off real conversational and natural.
And so which Indiana Jones character would you compare me to after me doing that?
Probably Renee Belloc.
Yeah, that's me.
Because
sure.
you do take valuable things away from people.
That is true. I hurt people. I hurt people to the core. It's a thing.
He was actually the only, you kind of put me on the spot. It was the first character I could actually kind of drum up. So,
yeah, it's close enough.
I really don't think you're a traitor, Jim.
Well, I'm not a traitor. I do make a lot of people angry, but I'm not a traitor. I'm actually true to my own convictions, which is kind of a weird thing.
Well, I could have compared you to Mola Ram from Temple of Doom, the guy that would take hearts out of people.
Well, now you're hitting really close to home.
I appreciate your time, sir. You can come on anytime we want. I know we'll have to come on your show maybe next time.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'd like to mix it up and do some non-sports sometime.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll see you at O'Gara soon. Thank you for the time, and go Twins and Wild. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, man. See you.
That was Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. Funny guy, and I know you had to step away, TB, but I'm going to do a little Folsom Prison Blues with him the next time his band is on stage at O'Gara's.
Nice. That would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I talked my way into that.
Shocking.
Anytime we have a musician or a band on, hey, man, any Johnny Cash?
Anything to get on stage.
Oh, of course. That's how badly I miss it, especially today after having about a half-hour discussion with somebody in theater.
Oh.
A student of mine, actually, who does a lot of stage stuff, really got me excited about theater again. And
you got to get back out there.
I know. I got to get back on there. I'll ramble on about that another time, but we need to do the giveaway.
Yes, we do. Are you ready? Drum roll.
I am ready.
And the winner of our awesome Minnesota Wild shirt is Annette Erickson. Woo!
Annette Erickson is in this house. Annette! Annette, you rock my world. It's fun because people that we don't even know are winning prizes now.
I know. Wow, that's kind of nice, huh?
When we first started, we had to give it out to family members.
Huh? I sounded so Minnesotan. Shocking.
Big deal. It's a great prize. This isn't just some chintzy T-shirt that we picked up at some, soubrette. This is a really, really nice sweater. Our prizes are great,
I keep wanting
man.
to keep all the prizes.
They kick ass, man. Yeah, every time you come home with something, you should just start bring home like 2 of everything because I always want to keep one.
We're going to be broke.
But congratulations to Annette, and we really appreciate you listening to the show.
Yes, and keep an eye on our Facebook page for any giveaways and, of course, everything that we talk about during the show. You can check it out at facebook.com, Eat This Twin Cities.
Right on. We'll see you next week, everybody. And until then, eat
this Twin
City.